And welcome everybody to Locked On Lads TV. I'm Peter Wilkinson and we're here tonight for another round of ANZCAR Thunder, the second season for 2022. It is round 6 and we're at the beautiful New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We also have tonight with us, joining us live for the call, the second choice voice himself, Edward Foster. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad at all. It's been a really good season so far, this one. Lots of great racing up and down the field, and looking forward to another great round.
And we just went live on Facebook. I'm sorry I didn't press the button over there. You've missed the intro, but we're here. And look, there's been some great racing, some racing that you maybe not have been able to see. Hopefully, I've been promised tonight will not end in the dark. We are going to get to see the end of this race, mate. Did you get to have a look at what happened last weekend?
I've heard about it. I haven't had too much of a chance to actually go back and view it, but from what I've heard, it's more of an audio experience anyway.
It is. It's like a little soap opera, audio, radio drama unfolding before your eyes. So just quickly, we'll touch on it. What happened last week as far as results was Ryan Jones who did get the victory. The race went over 50% race distance, so we got to give an official result. Full points were awarded. And we move on to this week with Ryan Jones still leading the championship, which is good to see. I will go through those championship points a little bit later on. However, we're here for New Hampshire tonight. What can you tell me? You're the expert of the oval stuff. Tell me what to expect from New Hampshire.
I'm sure there's a few guys out on the track right now who disagree with that particular sentiment, but we'll do our best anyway. So it's a 1 mile speedway, New Hampshire. As you can see from the pictures that we're looking at here, the banking is very, very flat. And what that means is that it's a lot easier to actually spin the car out on a steeply banked track. You run too deep into the corner, the car will generally push up the track and you can catch it. Not so at a track like this. Track with the shallower banking is going to want to spin the car around. So have a look out for guys like that, diving in under brakes, overcooking up a little bit and not being able to bring the car back and spinning around. Usually the races here have quite a few cautions because of the line as well that the drivers like to run. They like to sort of enter sort of high to middle and then cut down on the exit. And of course what that does is that it invites the people behind to stick their nose in, have a look, and that can also be a cause of a few wrecks as well. So it's a 1 mile speedway that races very much like a short track. So it's expect some. If you want to know what to expect some short track character racing here tonight.
Excellent. I cannot wait to see it. It's one of those tracks. I've driven up the road track here before. I've driven a few ovals here before. It's character all to itself. It definitely will throw up a few things. We've got to quickly say thank you to Mobile Breaker Mechanical. The 115 for tonight at New Hampshire is the sponsor. So if you're in South Australia and need repairs at all, or some brake work, some brakes checked, Mobile Breaker Mechanical, mainly centered around, located at the CBD. If you're near the city or surrounding areas and want to bring your vehicle in, simply give us a call and they'll work together to arrange a convenient drop-off. They are the legends. So this is the team behind. We're watching them right now. S. McClay Mechanical, the sponsor behind Matty Ray's team. So jump on board, check them out. If you want more details, you can definitely just Google it, find it out. Or hit us up. We can help you out with that. Mobile Brake and Mechanical Repairs.com.au is the other place to get it. But let's go. We've got times on the board here. Hamish Gallagher, is that any surprise that he's on top of the table when we've got 7 people across the line already, Ed?
No, certainly not. I mean, you'd expect, he seems to have this car sorted out on pretty much every type of track now. And this is a little bit of an odd one. You don't come to too many tracks quite like New Hampshire, but he's definitely got this car sorted out, dialed in, and sitting up there at the top at the moment with almost 0.2 of a second gap over Stephen Williams, who's sitting there. But we are yet to see Jaden Russell. We're yet to see Ruben Phelps. Jaden, as I say that, actually, has just gone into 4th place with his fastest lap, and Norman Clark's actually just pipped him for 4th there as well. But we haven't seen Dyson yet, and we haven't seen championship leader Ryan Jones yet either, or Josh Mickelmore for that matter.
Dyson did a lap and then put it into the wall on the start-finish line. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he had I don't know. Actually, we're on board with watching him now. He's got a timed lap going. But
he hasn't. This is lap 3. This isn't going to count.
Okay, there you go. So I think something happened. He put it in the wall as he does. Doesn't
Yeah.
want to finish the lap. Ruben Phelps is going around there in fifth tonight so far. At this stage, I don't think there's much more that's going to really looking at the projected times. Ryan Jones is one that is interesting. He did a
He's not.
39.
He's not set a time.
No.
He's got two blank laps there, so it looks like he may have done a Dyson and not been able to lay down a valid time there. So it looks like he's going to be starting towards the back of the grid as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see. Both of those guys really quite aggressive. Ryan's been quite sort of reserved and focusing a lot more on a sort of long run consistency and those kind of things. So I'm hoping that from that lower grid position, he's not going to sort of throw that out the window and he's just going to pace himself. His natural speed, as with Andrew Dyson, are going to take those guys to the front anyway. So they don't need to panic being back there. They can make their way up. But Hamish Gallagher, Josh Mickelmore sitting there on the front row for Mitch at the moment. And Mickelmore is another one who's very, very good on this particular track. I've been on the receiving end of a few pastings from him around here before, so I can tell you he's very, very quick.
Yes, he is. Congratulations on technically getting his 100th finish in the dark last week and then also celebrating it on Thursday night with the Cup race as well, just in case.
It was his 300th start in ANZCAR.
There you go.
Was the start, yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations, Josh Mickle. We touched on it last week a fair bit, but with the chaos of the dark race, we didn't get it. So Kobe Jordan, Matthew Knight, Matthew Raymond, no surprise with that last name, have all not set a time. And not even done a lap. We've got the only people out there is Brad Fenley and Andrew Dyson still doing laps around at the moment. But we are getting ready to go. So let's go through that grid officially right now as the scenic drone takes you around a little bit of New Hampshire, the road track, it's one of those unique tracks. Like usually if you see a road circuit at an oval track, it's on the inside. This one actually exits through the outside of the track and goes up into the hill and then comes back down. It's a beautiful road track. You should have a crack at it in something like the Legends or the Skippies. That little carousel that we're seeing there behind the campers, trailers is absolutely amazing to drive. It's one of the worst pit exits though in a road course in history. It's let's not go there. So let's have a look on pit lane as the cars head out onto the track. They're ready to go. We have the starting order has been sorted out. Hamish Gallagher's right next to Josh Mickelmore. Stevie Dubs next to Tom Neal. Ruben Phelps next to Norman Clark up in 6th place. Well done. Jaden Russell next to Matt Hunter. Tristan Cock next to Kai Turner. Brad Fenley next to Nathan Rollick. Andrew Tice. Adam Tice. Tice. Wow, my brain is not there tonight. He's next to Ben Vickers, Luke Georgeson, and Noddy Tompkins next to each other. Andrew Dyson and Ryan Jones next to each other. Way down the back there, you can see that Skittle car next to the white and black of Andrew Dyson, or white and grey. I don't know what it is from here. Matt Knight next to Matty Raymond. Kobe Jordan next to Wesley Flossy.
Closey, I've always called it Closey. Yeah,
let's just go with that. Closey.
Yeah. So he's going to be starting there, just rolling off in the 22nd position. As we mentioned, a few things to look out for. We've got Ryan Jones and Andrew Dyson way back in the field. And Tom Neal there starting up in P4 as well. That's a great qualifying effort from him. And then we see the guys that we're used to seeing up the front there. Matt Hunter, good qualifying from him there, sitting there in 8th place as well. So it's a little bit of a few guys sort of performing a little bit better than expected, and a few guys doing much worse than expected in qualifying. So we're just going to see how this all shakes out. Pace car moves away now. All the drivers are going to get up to speed. They're going to roll around at least once, maybe twice. I can't remember if there's 2 pace laps around here, but yes, we're definitely going to find that out. But in any event, the drivers are going to take the time that they do have to get themselves all set and ready for the off.
So we've got 22 cars are taking the field tonight. Right down the back there, they are all starting by the look of it, which is good to see. As the cars come around on the back straight, getting ready to go live. Trevor Mickelmore, welcome to chat. Lockie, I'm not going to say it. Lockie, welcome to chat as well. He's very happy to have Edward Foster here as the special comments. So am I. He is the second choice voice, though. We wish the best to Carl. Hopefully, you get better soon. Hamish is there to take the field away. I don't think we've got the new starting rules happening tonight, but he will take control of this field and he will launch for the first of 115. Is it miles or kilometers, Ed? I don't know. And he launches and he gets away with a very 115 laps. It's 1 miles then. So
yeah, that's right. So anyway, Gallagher away into the lead. Mickelmore holding on the outside there. We've got Neil and Stephen Williams side by side there. That'll probably resolve. And what did I say? Cautions. And we've got one already. Who's that? Looks like Wesley Closely around right at the back. And what did we say? What did we say? Somebody was going to be tempted to dive it on in there. And what happens when you dive it on there a little bit too late? You can't get the thing rotated that well. Well, it does want to over-rotate, but it wasn't actually him. I was having a look at that accident happening. I saw him sort of recovering, but it seemed to happen a little bit further up.
Oh, yep, there it is.
So.
It is a little bit further up. So around there it is. It's that car just ahead, near the 25 there. Who is the...
Looked like the 37 potentially. Might have been Adam Tice.
There it is, right next.
Yeah. And he's gone into the turn, and by taking it, you always take a little bit of a risk.
He's just come down on the nose of Luke, is it?
Yeah, that's the normal line though. That's the normal racing line around here. Is you want to enter on the middle and cut down on the bottom, but you can't do that when there's a car below you. And by taking that racing line, you encourage that car to stick its nose in because you're taking that nice and wide entry. So a car is always going to try and look in there. And if you decide to do that and take that traditional line where you're entering a bit high and cutting down low, you need to be ready for somebody to stick their nose in down there. It's just the nature of the racing. So, yeah, a little bit of a little bit more caution from those two might have worked out a little bit better. But it looks as though most guys have got through there. It doesn't look like a lot of damage on either car. So yeah, I think they will live to fight another day.
Yeah, Adam's tyres won't be in the best condition right now. He did have to get that locked up pretty well sideways. But yeah, it was just a touch enough to lose momentum to bring out the caution. The interesting one, Dyson did get around. Could have been a lot worse for him than that. And obviously Ryan Jones just nice and well off the gas there and just coasted around. So that were the two concerns at the back of the field. But yeah, we are cautioned already. We're lap 4 of 115. We've had the caution. Hopefully we can get around a lap this time.
Yeah. No one going to go green this time.
Yeah, no one came in except for Kobe Jordan. As far as my timing goes, but we're pretty much good to go at the start of this, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to see pretty much in starting order. They're going to be starting off again in that particular fashion, I think. Not too many people had too much of a chance to change positions during that little flurry, but one of the things that drivers might like to think about is maybe just compromising their entry a little bit, take that low entry, cover off the inside to just try and ward off anybody who's thinking about diving on in there. It's not the optimal line around here, but potentially it could be the safest one. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how everybody approaches this. But it's Gallagher's race to start off again. Pace car pulls off, and Hamish Gallagher is getting ready to drop the hammer, which he does right there in that restart zone. He goes, his teammate Mickelmore goes with him, and everybody filing down there towards turn 1.
That is it. Hamish gets out in front to make sure that nothing can happen. He can get the line he wants, which is exactly what he wants. Ruben Phelps coming down the inside there. Pushing his way up into 4th has done a very good job, and Jaden Russell looking like he's on dirt, doing a great job getting past the likes of, I think that's Tom Neal on the inside, who's just dropped back a few spots. Jaden should have some good moves on this track. It's a shame we haven't seen him for a while, but it's good to have him back. He's a talented driver, especially in these cars on the asphalt around.
Well, he's very, very good in dirt. Very good
yes,
on the
I know.
tracks. So definitely you can see him moving his way towards the front. He's quite good at the short tracks as well. One thing that they want to be careful of, though, is that lowest groove. Have a look at those dotted lines, that lowest set of dotted lines there on the track. Below that, the track is absolutely flat, and you really can't get the car rotated down there. So you're going to find that most guys are avoiding that. If you see a car running down there, don't expect it to be running too quick,
No.
because it's very, very difficult for them to actually pick up the throttle because they haven't got any banking there to help them. That's why you're seeing most cars really trying to avoid that very bottom lane.
Yeah, definitely. If the one thing these NASCARs need is more than anything is banking, and they just don't get it down there. As Luke gets a little bit wayward in the background there as he comes out of the exit. A lot of throttle management here, a lot of brake management here to get these cars around. Very, very important. But we're watching the mid pack here because the front is starting to stretch out, and these guys are going 2 and 3 wide into most corners wherever they can. But up front, Hamish Gallagher is opened up a 1 second lead over that man that you were talking about before, Josh Micklemore, ahead of Stevie Dubb and Ruben Phelps. What makes Josh Micklemore's style here so much quicker than most others?
Well, one of the things that actually really comes into play around here, especially when the tyres start to wear off, is patience on the throttle and rolling the centre of the corner. And that's something that Josh does very, very well. Any track that kind of requires that driving style, where you can drive it into the corner, get on the brakes, get yourself slowed down, allow the car to roll and rotate through that centre of the corner, and being nice and patient on the throttle and not putting the throttle down until you know you don't have to take it off again. Josh is excellent at that. And it's actually a weakness of mine, which is why I don't go too well around here, generally speaking. But for Josh, it's definitely one of his strengths, and that's one of the reasons why he's so good around here. There was a cup race last year or the year before where he had absolutely everybody completely pasted around here. No one was going to stop him, and then a late caution, unfortunately, robbed him of that particular win. But yeah, look, Hamish is clearing out at the moment. We know that Hamish isn't one to normally burn his tyres up, but I find it hard to believe that he'd be extending this far on Josh if Josh was pushing flat out. So we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. Looks as though Micklemore coming under a little bit of pressure there from Williams, but at the same time, we'll see if he starts to come up too much pressure. Maybe he starts to increase the pace a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've seen it a few times. It's whether Hamish isn't aware of how much. It's strange for him to jump out to almost a 2 second lead when he doesn't have to. Right now, it's going to be interesting to see when they come back to him, and they obviously will. Josh knows what he's doing. But I would have thought Hamish had it all under control as well. So we will see what happens. Dyson's up to 10th just for those watching. Norman Clark sitting there in 7th from down 1 from his starting at 6th. But that's a very good job for your mate. And as we say, Ryan Jones is coming up to 13th at the moment as he picks his way through the field. We're 12 laps in, no second caution, which is a great job. Tell me about tyre conservation on this one. It's going to be a fairly big deal, I assume, Ed, from what you've been saying?
Yeah, look, it will be. The setup around here I haven't actually driven, so I can't tell you whether or not it's loose or tight. From what I've seen, it trends towards loose on the fresh tyres, but I imagine, and I must say I haven't driven this car in the set around here yet, but I imagine that the right front tyre is still going to be the critical tyre that you have to manage. There'll be some management of those rear tyres. You can't let them overheat while the tyres are still new, because you will find yourself with a chronic sort of oversteer condition, not being able to get off the turns. But one thing that you can do around here, and that's if your right front tyre does start to burn up a little bit, the car does start to push, is you can actually just straddle that lower seam. Remember I talked about that flat lane in the inside that you don't want to go to.
Caution.
We'll pick that up later on. Looks like
Brad Fenley, yeah. He's had something. It doesn't look like there's too much damage there, but let's go into the replay and see exactly what happened from his point of view.
Yeah, he's caught a bit of a touch up there from Rolock, I think. A little bit hard to see from here exactly who was the cause of that one. It looks as though Rolock kind of got underneath, but then potentially washed up a little bit as well. And unfortunately, Fenley looks as though he was on the receiving end of that. Yeah. A little bit of over.
I thought there might have been some net code in there at the start, but no, it definitely got into him before the time he started spinning around. But he's got a little bit of damage there on the back left rear. Yes, I said back and rear. So he did have a touch to the wall on the rear on the outside as well. So that's not too bad a result for him. And let's see what happens.
All right, we got the leaders diving in.
That's what I was
diving in. Yeah. after only 15 laps actually, and they've only got sort of 4 sets of tyres, including the tyres that they started on to get them through this race. 15 laps in, we're already using a set. So it looks as though a couple of guys are staying out. Tyres very, very powerful around here, as we were just about to get onto when that caution came out. But it looks as though we've only got a couple of guys brave enough to actually stay out. They are Noddy Tompkins and Matthew Raymond, who, truth be told, was not making a huge amount of headway from back there in the field. So that may be the reason why he's decided to stay out on the track. We've got Tom Neal for After Dark Sim Racing, who's going to be leading laps. I'm not sure if he's led laps in ANZCAR before, but he's up there right now.
He will now. This is good to see. We've got some strategy playing out. It'll be interesting to see these guys. Obviously, their start will be key here. Yeah. Let's have a look at through the field though. Stevie Dub, Norman Clark, 5.7, 5.9 respectively on the pit bay. That's
okay, so that was just to top up a fuel.
Yes, but then from there down, Hamish, as order was basically 14 seconds. Tristan Cock did a 7.4.
Okay,
so he's jumped up as well.
Likely.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Other than that, you've got, here's some interesting ones. Ryan Jones, 36 seconds. Matty Hunter, 38 seconds. Brad Fenley obviously had damage, so he was 36.
Yeah.
And Ben Vickers, 46. So he's probably got some damage there as well. Is this Ryan Jones just sitting on the pit box, just waiting to let everyone pass and going out again? No. He wants to be at the back, or what's he doing there?
Ryan Jones has never let anybody pass. What are you talking about? He's sitting there, he's taken tyres. I reckon there must have been a penalty in there somewhere for him to sit there for that long. And, there's a little bit of damage on the front of his car as well. So he may have actually just been getting...
Yeah, look at that. So, is that rear sitting up on the... Can I get him behind? Let's have a look at Brad Fenley.
We're about to go.
Oh, yeah,
again.
come on.
The pace car's pulling off. Start's going to be on Tom Neal, so Neal's going to have to drop the hammer.
And he does.
Make sure there's no wheel spin, which he's done. He's done that really nicely. You see it popping flames as he shifts his gears then. He's going to want to try and get up into 4th gear before that corner and roll it on in there. And we'll see how long he's able to stay ahead of this marauding pack with much more grip than he's got.
Who's that yellow car? That's Noddy going back. He's got some front end damage as well. So that is something's happened in the back there. He's come up the back of someone. But here's Matty Raymond where he should be. He's quality driver. He should be up the front here. So it'll be interesting to see how long he can hang on. Hamish Gallagher, though, showing his ability already and has pushed his way right up on the back here, as you can see, of Tom Neal. We're looking at the back of Tom Neal's car here as him, and you can see the blue menace of Micklemore just flying through the field as well.
Yeah, he just made some side-to-side contact with Stephen Williams just coming off the corner. The back end of the car just dirt tracked on him a little bit and wasn't able to quite keep it off Stephen Williams, but no harm, no foul. They'll both carry on. And while we were talking about that, Hamish Gallagher there just making the move on Tom Neal on those 15-lap older tyres, and looks as though Micklemore's starting to do the exact same. The only thing is that the only way that the old tyre strategy sort of works is if you fight for it a little bit. You've got to make the guys on the fresh tyres use the best of their rubber trying to get past you. There's no point staying out and then not fighting for your position, just letting everybody breeze past, because you just wind up at the back. You need to try and disadvantage your rival a little bit. And I think they're being a little bit nice, those guys on the old tyres, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, they are. Look, I'm just looking at
we got one sliding up. That looked like an After Dark car.
Luke Georgeson is... Yes, it's caution right now. He's got damage in the rear. Those numbers on the side we're seeing from Lockie are a little bit hard to see on their cars. But let's go back and have a look at what's happening.
He got hit by Wesley Close there. Straight in the back.
Well, yeah, big hit. Big hit. Lucky no one else. Oh, Brad had to pull up very, very quickly. That is definitely very lucky from Brad, but the rest of the crew got through okay. It's a bad hit from Luke, but tell me, Ed, while I have a look at this from Brad's point of view in the cockpit, at real time. Talk me through the rear end damage in these cars on a track like this. Is it going to be a huge issue?
Nah, won't really do anything. It's not going to slow them down. None. They're not really. It's not much of an aero track. This one. It's more of more mechanical grip. Worn out tyres will have much more effect than any kind of anything other than catastrophic damage. We've got a few of those guys heading into the pits who didn't pit last time round. So we're talking Neil Raymond. Looks like Ruben Phelps heading down there as well. Potentially wasn't happy with. Was he one of the guys that we said got 2 tyres? Ruben Phelps, can't remember. But anyway, we've got Gallagher and Micklemore at the front now. And one of the things that I want to just sort of touch on is remember the start of that last run where Hamish was able to build that massive gap over Micklemore straight away, and we were talking about the long run, always the long run. And I don't think we're actually going to get too many long runs here. I think the race is going to fairly well proceed like this. They often do. We might get a bit of a long run at the end, but the races here are generally lots of little short runs. And I wonder if now we're going to see a change of tactic from Micklemore, whether he's going to try and jump out of the gates a little bit harder and stay with Hamish rather than try and play the long game. If it does look like we're going to get a long green flag run, he can always alter that. But I think that he probably needs to just try and put a little bit more pressure on Hamish there at the front, not to let him run away with it.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got some live updates from our YouTube chat. Ryan Jones is using his pit box time to send us a message to say that he is on 8 incident points already before turn 2, lap 1, because he had a bit of a run-in with Noddy Tompkins apparently. So that would answer why would be hanging at the back of the field trying to avoid everything, because he doesn't want to get a drive-through and be disqualified by the end of the race, which can happen.
He's running in the top 10 right now, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. He'll be okay. He hasn't
stopped this one, that's why.
He's just got to not let it get to him. Keep it nice and calm, keep that heart rate down, and just wait for the opportunities to present themselves.
We are talking about the same person here, right?
Yeah, we are. However, he has been a lot more circumspect the last few weeks.
No, he has.
I'm hoping we're going to get the circumspect Ryan and not the crazy one. But it's his championship at the end of the day that he's leading, so he's got to decide how he wants to attack it. Speaking of attacking, we're about to see it happen here because the pace car is diving off. Hamish will have control again of the start, and he's going to go. Micklemore goes, Turner goes, Williams goes, Russell goes, and Dyson does exactly the same behind them. So Hamish off into a handy little lead here, but we're going to see, look at Turner sending it right up the inside there. That's dangerous stuff for Micklemore. He's got to be really, really careful that he doesn't get a punt there from Turner. Turner looks as though he's going to be aggressive. He's going to try and send it in underneath. And as I said, if they're going to take that preferred line, which he does, it's just going to encourage guys to try and send it underneath you. And that's the way that so many of the wrecks here happen.
Yeah, we don't want to see that long. We want some green flag racing for a little bit. We are 25 laps into 115. We may finish at midnight. We may end up getting that night finish if we keep on going this way. But they all file into line here behind Josh. Stevie Dub's getting up a little bit high. Is that just a different technique from him, or is he trying to get a better run off the slightly higher banking or slightly steeper banking, or is he just...
I think he's actually just a bit wary of Jaden. He's got Jaden down there on the inside. Jaden likes to put it in, send it in under brakes on the entry of a corner. So I think what Steve was potentially just trying to do there was to just sort of let Jaden have that bottom line and try and actually beat him off the turn. That hasn't worked out this time. It often doesn't work out here. But it was probably a smart way to go about it, because if you pull down onto somebody like that who's really pushing the entries on the bottom and you try and block them, there's always the opportunity for them to run into the back of you. So, Steve, he's been around a long time. He's not going to allow something like that to happen to him. So he'll just slot in there behind Jaden, and at the moment he looks pretty happy there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hamish has got out to a full second lead yet again. So Josh isn't listening to the broadcast and isn't taking your advice of pushing it to him. These guys are doing 31.3s at the moment. Hamish is doing 31.3s compared to basically the rest of the field's 31.6s at the moment. So he is really quick, and a green run here will just show us exactly what that means in the long run. As they go 3 wide, Stevie Dub making that high line, trying to make it work somehow.
Yeah, he seems to be trying that a little bit more. I thought it might have just been a reaction to what Jaden was doing, but he seems to be kind of really trying to bring that line in and make it work. And this does happen a little bit later in the run after you've got a few laps on the tyres. That guys start to go up a lot higher, especially on the entry and the mid-turn. They'll kind of try and diamond it a little bit, really use that dark-coloured tarmac that you can see there on the outside. See Ryan Jones sending it in right now underneath Stephen Williams. Williams is holding on to that overlap around the top though, and this is the drive off I was talking about. Watch this. When he tries to get on the power, he can get on the power a little bit earlier than Jones, and he's just gaining that back. Jones is going to send it in here again on the entry and try and clear him. He manages to do that. Slide up in front, very, very close.
It's opened up for Tom though, hasn't it?
And it's opened up one there for Tom Neal on the bottom. So, yeah, it's not working out at the moment. You know, it's kind of one step forward, two steps back for Ryan at the moment. But he'll keep plugging away in there. It looks like Neal might be having a few connection issues there as well. He's just sort of blinking out a little bit, but it looks to have settled down, and they're just going to keep on running. No, there he goes again with a blink.
Yeah, so that'd be the next thing. So Jonesy's already got this in his mind about the 8 incident points, and he's just taken a hit again.
Yeah.
That'll be more incident points. There's 12. He'll have a drive through right there, and then he won't be happy. That's Rawlick, and that's probably the front end of his car. There's not going to be much left. I suspect we will not see Jones for much longer in this race.
And with all the respect in the world, that's not how you run for a title when you're the points leader. He's gone into the corner there, and I'm just rewatching the incident right now. You know, he's running around the top, which is what you want to do. Remember what I said at the start of the race. You want to run around the top. You want to enter high and then cut down low on the exit. And that's exactly what Ryan's tried to do. But the problem is, you run high on the entry to the corner, you open up the opportunity for someone to stick their nose down there. And you can't then cut down and take your preferred line if there's a car there. And that's exactly what happened there. Ryan went to the outside. He was looking for that nice drive off the corner. He went to turn down and take that preferred straight acceleration zone off the turn, but Williams was there. And you can't do that, and you can't do that and not find yourself turned around. As the car on the outside there, you're always the guy at risk. And it's just, that's going to hurt his points. He's not going to be happy with it. But yeah, unfortunately, that's a error of judgment on his part, I think. I'm sorry to say.
Let's have a look through. This is the Skittles car here. We've got a bit more speed. You can just see Rawlick just know where to go at that stage when he comes around. Just go on board with Nathan there. If I can find where he is in the field. Why can I not find him now? Okay. We can't do that at all. Oh, there he is.
Rawlick is sitting there in P8 at the moment.
Yeah, no,
bit of damage.
My brain is just not there. So this is his onboard view. As he comes around, just absolutely nowhere to go.
Yeah, there is not a reaction time in the world that saved him from that. That was just, it was going straight to the scene of the accident there, unfortunately. And so that's just it. It's the choices you make further back in the pack that may be a great idea, and then something happens and it turns into the worst place to be, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And that's what happened to Rawlick there. He's just going to have to take his repairs. Although he's not come in, he's still circulating out there. So,
yeah, that's why I was looking for him further down the field than what he currently is. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes on. So we've got Abigail Foster in chat. You know her. She's just come up with he just got skittled, so I thought I'd make a point of saying that one. And yeah, sucks for Nathan. 85 was running in the top 10 comfortably. Yeah, it's and that's going to hurt him big time.
Yeah, absolutely it will. But anyway, we're about to go green with the remaining runners at the moment. So Hamish sitting there, still leading this race as he has since the beginning, apart from a little blip when he pitted and some other guys stayed out. Mickelmore still sitting there on his outside. Turner was looking aggressive. Russell was looking aggressive. Let's see what that row 2 is going to do as we come into the start zone here. Hamish drops the hammer. Mickelmore goes with him. Russell goes with him as well. Turner not away quite so well, but Turner's really been sending it in on the entry to those corners there, which he does again. Washes up the track a little bit. Almost a bit of side-to-side contact between Russell and Turner. Turner's a bit too low. He's not going to get off the corner that well there, although he's made a pretty good fist of it on what are probably fairly cool tyres. And you watch Russell now. He's going to try and really push the limits of grip around the outside there and actually get that move done, and you can see him doing just that. Turner's dropped too low again. That's not going to help him off the turn, and you can actually see the way that Turner struggled to get the power down, and that's allowed Russell up there into a comfortable P3.
Yes, it has. Just for those interested, Jones did stay up there, so that's good for him, although his time is dropping off right now, so he's come back into pit lane. Hamish once again has the jump on these guys. Like I said, I want to see a green.
Oh, there's contact back
there
in the back.
is.
Looks like Rolick and Closey getting into each other.
That's
sent
three
Rolick
wide.
High and wide there. Yeah, it looks as though he was just getting out of that, not wanting any further part of that particular battle, so he'll live to fight another day. Looks as though we've got Dyson having a look down the inside of Tom Neal, and Neal's giving him plenty of room there, run right up the track, and Dyson's just able to drop the hammer nice and early, straight lines that exit exactly the way you want to, and now he's right up there on the back of Stephen Williams' teammate, who's probably not going to give him too much of a hard time, I imagine.
No, he took about 3 or 4 car lengths on him in that the braking area, which is interesting to see. It was actually Luke Georgeson, the other after dark one, that he got in underneath. As he gets in under Ruben Phelps, he's made 3 spots in the last 2 turns, 4 turns. I think it's technically in NASCAR.
Let's just say a lap, shall we?
A lap.
Let's just say a lap. All right, we'll go with
As
that.
he goes under Matty
now.
Knight now, he's got some speed here, so.
Yeah, he's not hanging about.
He is one of the few cars that's on 2 stops right now. He has got fresh tyres, 31,
right.
2, 9, 7s. Last stop was a 14.8. Him and Ruben Phelps have done 2 stops, but I think Ruben did his a while ago.
Yeah,
So.
potentially. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you can see the effect that those fresh tyres are having. It looks as though Dyson's in a different formula at the moment. Normally we say that about him on the road courses anyway, but today he's here on an oval and making absolute mincemeat of the guys that he's racing there on those fresh boots. And if it runs green from here, he has called this absolutely fantastically well. I wouldn't suggest for a moment, based on what we've seen so far, that it will. But certainly with the pace advantage at the moment, he's lining up Kai Turner. Kai's not going to give him anything. He's pretty aggressive guy. And yeah, he's probably going to be fighting as hard as he can, but is he going to be able to do anything? No, you can just see the extra grip on those tyres of Dyson's when he drops the hammer. That's when you really see it. When he tries to accelerate, he can just get to full throttle so much earlier than anyone else. And you can see that he's cleared Turner now, and he's going to get to work on Jaden Russell.
I just quickly want to go back in. That was Ryan Jones serving that pit lane penalty that we were mentioning about him getting his 12 incident points. He's still out there. He's on the lead lap. That's the main thing. Caution out. There it is at the back, and it's including Norman Clark this time. Let's have a look back. I just wanted to quickly say Kobe Jordan was one of those other ones, and Norman Clark I was about to bring up had fresh tyres.
Yeah, so that happened a little bit further up the road. It wasn't just Norman. It was Matt Hunter getting into Ben Vickers. I'm not really sure. I think it might be, similar situation to what happened with Jones and Williams. Top Car has tried to take his preferred line, and he's just turned down when there was a car underneath him. And that's all there is to it. And we said before the race, didn't we, about how this was going to be the common cause of the majority of the wrecks, is exactly that situation. And that's what we're seeing.
So you can see there, Matty's holding the seam, and there's a bit of net code there, to be honest. But yes,
not in my view, there wasn't.
Oh, wasn't there?
No, but it could be. It could be. There's always the chance that we're seeing different things, but certainly not in my view. Was there any net code?
They're definitely trying to share the same bit of track there at some stage. So Ben Vickers has come on that, but what happens after that is what I want to see. Norman Clark gets hit by the 37. The 37 takes into Vickers. That's Adam Trice.
Okay, so we've got the leaders coming down pit lane now. It looks like Dyson's come down as well, so I've got to keep an eye on Dyson here to see if he takes tyres, because this could be his last set.
I can't imagine he'd take tyres now, would he?
Well, he might. No, it doesn't look like he is. It looks like he is
it's
saving
just a
them
splash.
for another time. So he's just going to get that splash of fuel,
which
and
is going to get him
emerge in the lead.
Yeah, it's going to get him track position, except for the fact that multiple cars stayed out, including Jaden Russell, Luke Georgeson, Brad Fenley. It's one of those things of yeah, you're getting a caution every 4 or 5 laps, but when do you take the gamble of, oh no, and get caught out to a big green run stint?
Yeah,
Um,
and that's it. I mean, calling strategy in stock car racing is like you need a crystal ball. You can
well, how pretty is that?
make the, you can make the best strategy in the world,
Yep.
and if the caution then comes out and screws the whole thing and turns it into the worst strategy in the world. So, that's why you see experienced drivers in real life NASCAR, guys hitting the peak of their results in sort of age 39, 40, 41, when they've been doing it for 10, 20 years.
Yep.
Because they learn to read a race, and as do their crew chiefs. It's always the experienced guys, because they learn to read a race, know what to expect, what kind of race we're likely to get from this point onwards. And that's why you often see these experienced guys getting to the front and winning things over and above guys who are sort of in their 20s, where they're at the peak of their powers in somewhere like Formula One. But yeah, definitely, it's experience counts for a lot more in this.
Oh, so you're saying I've got a chance? That's good to see.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at this. So what you need to understand before we get a restart here: Andrew Dyson, Ruben Phelps, Hamish Gallagher. That's what we're looking at now. They were the ones who came in. Everyone above them has not stopped in this caution.
Yeah, but remember that Dyson did not take tyres.
No, Dyson.
I'm not even sure about Ruben.
No.
If he jumped the Mitch cars, then there's a chance he didn't.
No, they both only did 4 to 5 second pit stops. So as we get ready to jump, Jaden Russell will take this away. Brad's right on his rear. He wants to get this as good a start as he can. Jaden takes out the green flag and he gets up high line, as we've seen with everyone so far. Brad's trying to get around the inside of Luke there, and he probably will make this work and get up into a comfortable second spot, as the plenty of the yellow and red cars there to try and take it. Although Luke does well, gets the power off out of the corner extremely well to hold on to that second place, as Brad has nowhere to go down on the inside there. And slowing down.
How long is this going to stay green for? How long is this going to stay green for? Because you've got cars on old tyres trying to get out the way or fight with cars that are on brand new. Gallagher's making his way through. Micklemore's making his way through. All those guys on the new tyres are making their way through. But it's an absolute mess. We got Fenley 3 wide with Micklemore there. Looks as though there was nearly contact between the two of those. Turner trying to shove through the middle. It's crazy out there.
Yeah, if I was Brad, I would be ready to go somewhere not on the track right now. But it was their call. They stayed out. They needed that track position and just not been able to capitalise on it. Jaden Russell's doing a great job of capitalising on that track position, as well as Luke Georgeson. That's a great restart from him to hold on to the back of Jaden like he is. He's got Hamish now on the back of him. What they really need now is...
Luke's got to fight. He's got to fight Hamish here. There's no point moving over and just letting him go. He's got to actually try to race him, try and make him use up the best of his tyre. But it looks like he hasn't been able to do that. And he's trying to hang tough around the outside a little bit, so that's okay. But you can see the way that Dyson, who's on older tyres, he's not moving over for Micklemore at all, is he?
No.
He's racing him hard. He wants, you're still in a race, whether the guy behind you is on new tyres or not. And yeah, sometimes, depending on your individual situation, you can decide it's probably smarter just to let the guy go. But you can also, there's definitely a case to be made for racing a guy like that. That's what Dyson's doing right now. He's not giving Micklemore an inch, and nor should he.
No, he shouldn't. But Luke's doing a good job holding on to third here. He's got Dyson in his rear vision mirror, as well as Micklemore. All of these guys wanting to come through the field. Brian Jones up to 14th. He's holding on. He's doing a great job getting as many points out of a bad situation as he can. But look, we got here Stevie Dubb coming down the inside here of Matty Raymond. Matty Raymond spent his time up the front. Dyson has now got past Luke Georgeson at the front. If I can get... Yes, there he is. And he makes it stick as well. Can Josh do the same down the inside right now? Will he be able to hold on to this?
Yeah, I'd say that Luke's probably just going to slot in behind those two at the moment and then deal with Turner. But Micklemore's still working away there. Hasn't been able to clear Dyson yet. Gallagher cleared him very, very quickly. Cleared him into the first corner, and now he's up in the lead. Micklemore, who was running second, don't forget earlier on, he's on the freshest tyres of that group there, apart from Gallagher. And, he still hasn't been able to clear those guys. So you're having Dyson now, who I think was on a little bit fresher tyres than Russell earlier on. Is now getting underneath Jaden. Micklemore's going to try and go with him. But realistically, if Micklemore's going to have any chance of doing anything about his teammate in that silver bullet out there at the front, he's going to need to clear these two, and he needs to do it now. And
Yeah.
that's something that he's acutely aware of.
That lead now is over 2 seconds. It's probably one of the biggest leads we've seen all race now. It is 51 laps into 115. We're only getting to the halfway mark already. Only just getting to the halfway mark now. But this is 2.5 seconds it's flying out at the moment. This is the kind of lead that you really want it to go green now, as long as you can, and capitalize on it. Because all the caution's going to do is basically waste that little battle he's got. As we see, the After Dark cars very close to each other there in Tom Neal and Luke Georgeson. Luke fallen back to 9th now, so he's still in the top 10 from that bit of strategy he pulled before, but he's doing a great job in holding on. We go back down the back. Tristan, I just wanted to quickly look at. Tristan was one of those ones who is on... he didn't take tyres, he just splashed fuel as well, so he's one that's going to be struggling under the weight of used tyres right now, as well as he goes back through the field. But look to him, he'll have a set of tyres at the end that some people won't have now, and that's what it all comes down to, isn't it, right, Ed?
Yeah, absolutely it does. It's going to come down to tyres, and if we run green for a while, it's going to come down to who makes best use of them. They've got limited sets, of course, but you've got to take care of the ones that you're on. Of course, we've seen short stints so far. Is that going to continue? We look as though we're settling into a little bit of a race pace now, but Kai Turner having a big look underneath Andrew Dyson there at the moment. They touch, and Dyson's having none of that hanging around the outside there, but I'd expect to see Turner send it in again here in the entry of the corner. He doesn't quite get it done, but he's not going to give up on that one. He's got fresher tyres than Dyson, and he's trying to make the most of him, as Mickelmore has, as Gallagher has. He really needs to get on with it.
Yeah, you can see him, he wasn't quite diving in, but you see that mid-corner speed that he's got as Stevie Dub comes up on the rear of him, which is going to help Dyson out, because it's going to fill up that car's mirror and give him something else to concern himself with, which you can see there, Dyson's just starting to get away from him. Stevie Dub's going to come down the inside here and make this stick, and then go with his teammate.
He's going to try. It's going to be a close run thing coming off the turn. I don't reckon he's going to get it done yet. This might take a couple of laps to shake out here. Williams being very nice to Turner there, actually. He's giving him a full car with the space. Probably doesn't want to pinch himself down that low. He can probably afford to run Turner out towards the wall and potentially get a move done that way. But he's giving him a lot of space, and he's exiting the corner quite narrow. And you see there, he just wasn't able to get the power down, and Turner's managed to prevail there. So good stuff there from Kai, but Steve was pretty nice to him. Yeah,
definitely was. This gives Turner the chance to get on the back of Dyson again and hopefully make that move happen. Every time he's fighting with Stevie Dub, he's making those tyres go a little bit worse. So hopefully he can make that work for him. Ryan Jones back in the top 10, just behind Luke Georgeson right now. So that's a very good effort from him. Norman Clark, we saw him have that incident, but he's making a little bit of effort to get past Kobe Jordan right down the back of the field there. Back up to 17th after his little incident that he was in. Ben Vickers, the only person to currently be out of the race, and Nathan Rollock, the only car that's left in the race that is more than one or not on the lead lap at the moment. So that's always good for racing. Everyone out there on the same lap. But Hamish is doing some quick laps here at the moment, 31.9. 18 seconds. Adam Trice is off the lead, so you will see him start to come into play. Some lap traffic if this stays green for much longer.
All right, so there is something interesting going on in this battle here for third place between Turner and Dyson. So what you're seeing Turner doing is exactly what he should do, and that is he's entering the corner a little bit wider than Dyson, and he's attempting to just lengthen that straight as much as possible, chop down. But Dyson is aware of what Turner is doing. So what Dyson's doing, he's entering in the normal way, and he's just sort of moving up in front of Turner and diamonding that corner, and Turner can't drive through him. So Dyson's placing his car right up there in front of Turner at exactly the point where Turner wants to be getting on the throttle. And as a result, Turner can't get on the throttle any earlier than Dyson is, and he's just burning away that advantage that he had from the way that he'd set that corner up. So Dyson driving with his mirrors a little bit, he's doing a really good job keeping that car behind, because it looks as though Turner's got a little bit more pace, but Dyson's being very, very smart about it.
Can he get enough to get along the inside here to make this work? He's finally going to get the run. Gets it down the inside. He's got the overlap. He's got to put it down now. You can see there where those tyres just make a huge difference. Dyson, though, has got the push off the bank, comes up high. Will be able to hold on for now, but I think this is the moment where you'll see Turner here. Whoa, something's happened there. He's lost that.
That was just impatience. That's all that was. His tyre's getting a little bit hot. It's probably getting a little bit hot under the collar as well. Not being able to get that move done. He's gone the big send in there, skidded up the track a little bit, and nearly took them both out of the race. But he saved it. No harm, no foul. We can play on. But that's exactly what it's like when you've got a car in front that might be a little bit slower than you, but it's also being driven very smartly.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I think that's going to give Dyson an advantage now, because any kind of advantage he had, I think those tyres are going to be a little bit warmer as Stevie Dub just comes down the inside. Turner repays the respect that Stevie Dub gave him before and goes really high. But look at the run he gets off that high, the high line, and just comes along. Quick note, Ryan Jones is going backwards through the field now. He's coming in to the pit lane. I don't know what's happened there, besides maybe his motor might have just given way after a long run on green, but it doesn't, no smoke coming out, so I don't know what that is. But he's put it into pit bay right now.
The wall. I think he went into the wall just before he came down the pit lane. He was down the inside of I assume George. Oh no, he has. He's popped it. Okay. He popped the motor on the way in the turn.
Okay.
So yeah, the damage too much for that car. He's done a good job keeping it right out of everyone's way, and then rolling it down into pit road. But yeah, mechanical failure. Unfortunately, not able to survive with the amount of damage that it had on the front there.
Yeah, fought on valiantly, which I thought he was going to jump out of the car earlier on than that, especially with the damage he had. But he got himself back up to 10th, which was a great job. Just watching Matty Knight here. Matty Knight's going through the field fairly well. Jaden Russell's an interesting one. He's on my timing board. He's stopped once. That was 47 laps ago. So
he's doing a great job to hang on there. You know, he's qualified 7th, running 7th at the moment. He's probably been, if he has only stopped once and he's only taken one set of tyres, then, you know, you got to say, you know, we're on lap 64 right now out of 115. The race is almost, you know, it's kind of moving into its second half there. So realistically, he probably, if he had his time again, would have changed tyres at least once more, because he is going to be suffering on them right now. And he's got absolutely no chance of closing down the leaders on those tyres. And that's what he would be wanting to do. He's a driver who's capable of doing that, getting up there and winning races. So that'll be his goal. So he's not going to be overly happy with just running around there in 7th place at the moment. However, and I say this with a big however quote marks on it or whatever, but if we get some more cautions, if a whole bunch of stuff happens from now and he's able to come in every time and get fresh tyres, you know, he's going to be in really good shape. So what did I say earlier on about almost needing a crystal ball? You know, if he has predicted right that we're going to get some cautions towards the end of the race here, and he's going to be able to take advantage of that and put on fresh tyres when no one else has got any left, it's going to work out great. But if he's seen wrong and this thing runs green to the end, or even if we only get one more caution to the end or something like that, it's not going to work out for him. So yeah, on such thin threads does your fate hang sometimes.
Yeah, so the other thing is fuel's got to start becoming an issue, doesn't it? 51 laps on a stint without topping up fuel, I would have thought. The only other person,
I think it'll be fine. You're off throttle so much here, through the corners and everything like that. It's not a high fuel load circuit. I would say that anybody who topped off with fuel on the last caution will be good to the end. No problem.
Okay, so the other person I'm looking at, I've got a couple more one-stoppers. Brad Fenlay's one, Matty Raymond's one, Noddy Tompkins one, but they didn't do their stop on that first caution. So like I said, 52 laps of 68. So he's done 17 laps, Jaden, and then he's done another 52 laps. His times aren't too bad considering 32 fours versus Hamish's 32 twos at the moment. So
yeah, and it's almost hard to say whether or not that strategy is a good one or not, because if you look at the 4 drivers that have taken that strategy, they're all sort of spread throughout the field, aren't they? You know, you can't really look at it and say that's been a success or it's been a failure. I guess we'll know towards the end of the race whether or not it's worked out. I mean, the cars are all starting to spread out a little bit more now, so there aren't too many close battles going on the track, which suggests that it's likely to stay green. The only thing that I can think of which might bring out another caution is somebody having a self-spin, or perhaps somebody getting caught up with a bit of lap traffic or something like that. But as far as positions go, there looks to be at least half a second between almost everybody.
Yeah, well, that's it. And even when it's spread out that much, like we're looking here at Noddy Tompkins, who's only about 5 seconds away from being overtaken. You see Hamish in the background there. When you get tracks or spread out like this, like even the lap traffic doesn't become a problem because, you're only picking them off one at a time. You're not trying to go through 3 or 4 at a time. As we go through, I think the biggest gap here is Jaden Russell getting on the back of Matt Knight, trying to actually fight back to get 6th place back here. So that's one of the smallest gaps in the track right now. So I think lap traffic isn't going to be even a problem. We could go green here to the end. So,
and let me tell you though, you don't want to be the driver who's in Matt Knight's position right now, where you're defending against a car that needs a caution.
Yep.
Right, because sometimes cars that need a caution, if they find themselves with the opportunity, might create one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And right now, Matt Knight is in the perfect position to be that guy. So he's going to be hoping that he can, sort of keep this clean and not wind up in too much. But if he fights Jaden too hard, there's plenty of incentive there for Jaden to just give him a little nudge, and all of a sudden we've got the caution that he really wants. So it's a very tempting carrot to dangle in front of a driver, and I'm not sure that I'd want to be in his position right now.
So we've also got Norman Clark coming through the field a little bit. I don't know whether that's Matty Hunter going backwards or Norman Clark going forwards. We see Wesley's going backwards just a little bit. Ruben's going to go underneath him here. Norman's going to get up on him as well. So there are battles going on, and I think there's a discrepancy of speed here in places with damaged cars and such. But yeah, I think the biggest hope for Jaden Russell is these tyres start to wear out for a few people and we get a bit of a slippery track. We see some cars going up into the wall at his best shot at the moment. As Hamish, nearly 4 seconds here, and then it's for the 2 seconds back to Mickelmore.
Sorry to cut you off. Jaden's actually making that move on Knight right now. He's just made that move around the outside, so it looks as though we cut away from him right as that move is about to happen.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
But Jaden's got that move done. Knight doesn't really have too much to fight back with as far as I can tell. Though he is kind of looking as though he might want to, but I think that there's definitely more speed in that 28 right now than there is in the 25. So Jaden will probably look to extend that gap. Indeed, he looks to be doing that already. And that particular battle looks settled for the time being.
I'm going to go back to Luke Georgeson for a bit. We talked about him before. He on a bit of a different strategy to everyone else. I've got him on about 52 lap stint at the moment as well on these tyres, if the timing's correct. But he's sitting there in 9th at the moment. He started 15th according to my timing. I thought he started higher than that, but maybe my board's a little bit out. But yeah, he's doing a great job here. He's just in the 32 still, which is really good for where he is in the position. As I've got a little bit of an echo, but anyway, we'll get that sorted. Matty Raymond's coming up behind him though to make him maybe take him down to 10th spot right now.
Tell you what, a caution would be good, wouldn't it?
That would be great. We've got 15 cars on the lead lap still. Noddy, Brad Fenley, Kobe Jordan, Adam Tice, and Nathan Rawlock are all those ones that are a few laps down. Ryan Jones obviously still in the pits, been there for 7.5 minutes right now. And Ben Vickers is out of the server and no longer joining the race.
We're 3 wide here. We're 3 wide. We've got Hamish, who's trying to lap Tristan Koch. It looks as though he's got a car down underneath him as well. They're still 3 wide. Kobe Jordan is that car that's down there, who I think has been down the lane because he's got a lot of speed. Looks as though he's got some new tyres on that thing and he's going. They look as though they've just sort of sorted themselves out there. So, that would have caused a sharp intake of breath in the cockpit of the 13. I can absolutely guarantee you.
I can confirm Kobe Jordan, Noddy Tompkins and Tristan Koch have all come out of the pits in the last 3 laps. So they do have fresh rubbers. Interesting, Tristan's going back. Luke Georgeson's going backwards quick. He's in the pits.
Right, so it looks as though Luke's decided to pull the trigger there. And when was his last stop, Luke Georgeson?
It was that 53, 54 laps ago that we're talking about as well.
Right, okay. I'd be surprised if it's fuel then. I could be wrong, but I'd be surprised if that's actually a
No,
fuel-related thing.
because
He's
Jaden
probably
Russell's
going for tyres.
62 laps. We're on board. Well, we're watching him now. He's 62 laps into a 63 laps into a stint. This is tyres. This is rolling the dice. But I don't think it's going to really help because it's going to put him a lap down.
If they start, well, it's going to put them more than a lap down. You drop almost 2 laps with a pit run down here. So I'm not sure exactly whether Georgeson will have dropped quite that much, but you can certainly, the best part of 2 laps you'll drop going into the pits, getting 4 tyres under green. You're not going to gain that back on fresh tyres. You're just not. What you're hoping for is a caution.
So the interesting thing is, so I don't know whether... Oh no, Tristan didn't come into the stop. It's Brad Fenley, who is... Yeah, he's got fresh rubber. You can see him now going under Ruben Phelps. Norman Clark's coming through with him as well. I thought Tristan had come in, and I was confused that he is coming in now. There you go, I was seeing the future.
Right. Okay, so, I mean, Fenley's only a lap down, so if he pitted and so on, then obviously it's not dropping them quite 2 laps down. But yeah, he's certainly fallen off the lead lap with that, and you're not going to gain that back on fresh tyres. You're much better served, unless you're, thinking of taking a bit of a risk. And the guys that run a bit further down the field, why wouldn't you take a bit of a risk and see if something works out? But certainly for somebody who was running a safe strategy, you want to hang out there until there was a caution, if there was one.
Yeah, that's it. And I think there'll be a few people like this will catch out those guys if there is a caution. Now they need to try and get their lap back ASAP. However, I don't think that's going to happen. The pace that Hamish is still showing, 32.3s. He is... we've got Luke and Kobe doing 31.6s, so...
Yeah, and Fenley did a 32.1 on the last lap on new tyres.
Yeah.
So, Gallagher's doing a great job out there, and, it's possible for these guys on the new tyres to unlap themselves and get back on the lead lap, depending on the gap, but they're not going to then be able to carry that advantage through, make it all the way back around again onto the back of the leader and to take that spot. It's just not going to happen. You're going to run out of tyres before then. The tyres will plateau at some point. So that's not going to... It might gain him some spots, relative to where they were, depending on what happens right now. But certainly if you're racing against cars, you're only really going to get back to where you were, I think. I don't think it's a good move.
I'm going to give you some numbers here, Ed. Stay with me. So Luke Georgeson's doing 31.4s at the moment, right? He's a lap down. Theoretically, the cars in front of him are Matty Hunter, Wesley Closley, Norman Clark, Ruben Phelps. They're 27, 26 seconds off the lead of the race, which puts them about 6 seconds from being lapped. So they're only about 6 seconds in front of Luke. He's travelling almost 2 seconds a lap quicker than these guys. So in the next 3 to 4 laps, he could actually get back up to 10th, which is where he was when he pitted.
Yeah, look, he certainly could. He could get back up to 10th, but what is the purpose of dropping down the pit lane and running a strategy like this? Is it to wind up exactly where you were before? You're trying to make net gains out of that. So if he gets to 10th place, then he's got another 3 seconds up the road to Matty Raymond, and by the time he's done all of this, the best of those tyres have gone.
Yep.
And the tyres are going to start to... They don't maintain their pace advantage over used tyres the entire way through. So if you've got 20 lap newer tyres than someone else, yeah, you're going to be quicker, but you're not going to stay 2 seconds a lap quicker the whole way through. As the laps go on, that advantage is going to decrease until such time as you're running pretty much the exact same lap times as everybody else. So it's only a temporary gain. So if he works his way back to 10th place, that's great. Nothing lost, nothing gained. But if he's going to go any higher than that, he's going to have to hope that his tyres are still hanging on, he's still retaining some sort of advantage, and there's no guarantee that he will, especially if he's driving hard right now.
My timing was a little bit off. They're 20 seconds down the track to him, not 60 seconds. That's my fault. But the thing I was actually going to try and get to is if there is a caution now, he is in the lucky dog spot, which will help him get that lap back, and that's what he's been working his way to. He's got 3 seconds on Brad, who's the next person to lap down. So he's hoping for a caution in this last sort of 30-lap stint. That's what's going to get him there.
This is the thing. He might be in the lucky dog spot now. And if a caution comes out, he'll get his lap back. but he was on the lead lap when he pitted.
Yeah.
Right, so all he's doing is getting back what he had before, and he's not gaining a tyre advantage over anybody else, because if that caution does come out,
Everybody's
everybody's going to come down and get fresh tyres. So he's not gaining that either. So if cars are able to run to the end on the fuel they get, unless they're getting some sort of warning that a catastrophic tyre failure is on its way, it's not a good call.
No.
It's not a good call. The best you can possibly do is get back to really where you were.
And we go back to Jaden Russell here, proving that probably a catastrophic tyre failure is not in the cards, because unless Luke used up his tyres, which possibly Jaden's on 72 laps on this set of tyres right now, so it can go the distance if you look after your tyres. Sitting in 6th as well, Jaden, doing a great job. As Josh Micklemore has 2nd, pretty much locked down at the moment. That gap between him and Dyson is just actually growing out. To almost 2 seconds a lap at the moment. So
just listening to Norman Clark on the radio joking about how physical this is for him at being nearly 100 years old. Of course, he's not quite that old, but he's having a joke with the guys on the radio about that, with Josh Micklemore and so on, suggesting it's hard for an old dude to keep going around there. But I'll tell you what, for a guy who's well of the way into his 7th decade, he's certainly got the ability to show a few of these younger fellas a thing or two. So yeah, he's doing well.
Matty Raymond into the pit lane right now. He's going to make that call as well. I haven't got a call on how many laps he was in his stint, but yeah, look, if I'm at Norman's age or experience level and I'm doing what he's doing now, I'd be extremely happy.
Yeah, definitely. He's doing a great job out there running just ahead of Hamish Gallagher, just about to drop off the lead lap, unfortunately. He's just actually been lapped by Hamish Gallagher. And Micklemore will be along in the not too distant future, I imagine. He's sitting about 5 seconds now behind Micklemore, and Dyson is sitting there around about 2 seconds behind Micklemore as well. So the top 3, not a lot of contest going on between those guys. Most of the action is a little bit further down the pack. Interested in seeing Matty Ray go for that stop as well.
Got to be a reason for it. Like Matty Ray wouldn't make that call with 20 odd laps to go. He's not going to get any kind of advantage out of that.
No, you shouldn't think so, unless he was getting some kind of tyre wear, some sort of critical issues or something like that we're not privy to up here. But yeah, certainly pitting under green is not the desirable way you want to go about it.
Oh, well, Jaden Russell is in.
Jaden Russell's coming in. Okay, so his tyres have obviously cried enough. He might need some fuel as well. When did he last pit? He's been out there for almost
73 laps.
73 laps. That could be sort of getting close to fuel. So I imagine he's in for that reason. I imagine he'll take on just enough fuel to get to the end and possibly 2 tyres here. We'll see what he does.
We're expecting a 6 or 7 second.
Definitely taking right sides.
No, it's going the full length. Unless he's still popping fuel in. No, that's too much fuel.
He's going for 4 tyres as well. Yeah. So he doesn't need a heap of fuel to get to the end of this one. There's not that many laps to go. No. So he's obviously decided he wanted all 4 tyres. He's dropped down a little way, but he should be able to recover back with his speed and those fresh tyres. He should be able to recover back to roughly where he was. Maybe, sort of that top 5 area will be his target, I think.
Yeah, so just interesting. All those guys who are stopping are taking all 4s. They're all around that 14 to 15 second lap time, pit stop time, or box time, sorry. So it's Lockie in chat's suggesting that the few guys were short on fuel, but it's not fuel that they're stopping for. So
No, it's not. I think Jaden wouldn't have come in if he didn't need fuel, but a lot of these other guys that were, been in the pits not that long ago, 50 laps, you're not going to drain a tank around here, so they weren't coming in for that reason. And also, with a lot of these guys now not being on the lead lap, that's one less lap they have to actually complete. So fuel becomes less of a problem even then. So just watching Jaden now out of the pits, he's absolutely flying on those new tyres as you'd expect. He's dropped all the way down to 12th place though, so it looks even a fairly big stretch right now with about 20 to go for him to actually get back into the top 5, but we'll see what he can do. Yeah, it's going to be a push for him.
Yeah, so the interesting one is, okay, so my timing has done what it did last week, where it's decided it's the end of the race. on the back end, so I've got no more stats on time anymore. And
That's all right. We'll wing it old school.
No,
It'll
no,
be
I
fine.
fixed it last week. It was a case of I just got to kill the theme and bring the theme back up. So just hang with us, everyone. Watch some beautiful Hamish Gallagher driving around the track, looking like he knows what he's doing, because he does, people. He does. I'm shocked. I thought his tyres would have come off by now. But it wasn't that he was burning up his tyres to get a lead. He's just quick on this track.
He's just quick in this car. Doesn't matter what type of track you put him on. He's really good in this car. Pretty good in the truck too, actually. I wish he was still in Cup, because he and I had a great battle last year for the championship, and he was always a good guy to have in those races as well. Always did well, but the next gen car doesn't float his boat apparently, and he's racing in an American league on the Thursday night, so he's not there for the Cup. But yeah, we do still get to watch him here in the Truck Series and also in the Thunder Series. So yeah, we can just, I guess, appreciate it from here. But yeah, he's got 6.5 seconds on his teammate Mickelmore now. Dyson nearly 10 seconds behind. Well, he's 9 seconds, I should say, to be fair to him. Yeah, Stephen Williams back there, 14 seconds off the lead in 4th place. Kai Turner rounding out the top 5 at the moment, 17 seconds back. So it really is a very spread out race, certainly for the front positions. And I wish I could sit here and build up some sort of tension, but it's really kind of run as you are at the front at the minute.
And I just can't get the back end software to start up again. This is very interesting. I haven't had this before. Usually it just reboots.
Is this the tension? Is this the tension?
This is what's going to happen. What's going to happen?
What's going to happen with the overlays? Because there is nothing more important than that.
Well, how else are we supposed to know what's going on?
Well, I can tell that's what we're for. We're commentators. Our job is to tell what people is going on. So we'll just keep telling them what's going on. It's fine. We're on lap 101 of 115. Hamish Gallagher is leading by a long way. And then Josh Mickelmore is second, and he's got a fair gap over Andrew Dyson in third. There we go. We pretty much just summed
I don't know what I'd do without the second choice voice. I just don't know what I'd do.
Oh, I might be sliding into number 1 spot if Carl ever actually resumes. I can't even see him down there in the chat. Is he in the chat at the moment, Carl?
No, he's not even on Discord right now. I can see his light is grey.
No, well, I mean, he's normally a little bit grey anyway.
That is true. So if I press this button, and then this button, that should get the live timing back up. We are good to go again, everyone.
Crisis averted.
Why is it only ANZCAR? Why is it doing this with ANZCAR? But anyway.
Because the amount of class on display is just too much for these little overlays to handle, mate.
No, that's not true at all.
No, it actually is.
Let's go. Let's have a look through the field. We've got Jaden Russell's flying back through the field right now. He's made his way back to
8th place.
8th place in that little thing. He's the second car not on the lead lap now. He just has to get past Tommy Neal. If we do get a very, very late caution, he is the lucky dog.
He's going to be good as gold. Yeah, well, I mean,
but
yeah,
that's only exactly 4 seconds down the track. So, and who would not expect a late caution after having 15 million cautions in the first half of the race?
Yeah, well, we're certainly running clean now, aren't we? Hamish showing a clean pair of heels to the entire field. His lead is up to 7 seconds now. That's properly brisk. He's going pretty well.
Just out of interest too, so Matty Raymond doing a great job coming back with those fresh set of tyres, as we knew. Luke Georgeson's back up to 11th, which is, he's just dropped back to 12th as Matty Hunter gets very wobbly on the exit there. And
Hunter's on a bit of a charge, isn't he? He kind of had that bit of an accident before, went all the way to the back, and he's now kind of running up there kind of on the fringes of the top 10. You can see Closey there in front of him, and that's 10th place at the moment. So, yeah, both of those guys, Georgeson and Hunter, making good recoveries.
And Jaden is now about to get that all-important first car on the lead lap off Tom Neal here if he can get down on the inside of the next lap or two. He is currently lapping 2 seconds a lap quicker than Tom Neal, so it won't take long.
It's not going to be much of a fight, is it?
No. He's actually going to do it down the straight here.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So he's now 8 seconds down the field to Matty Knight, who's in 6th, who's on the lead lap. So the next little bit. He will come up to one Hamish Gallagher.
Yeah, we'll see what he's able to do. There's only 10 laps to go, but if he is that much faster than the cars around him, then
Might
he's
make
going to
a
be able to
difference.
make at least one more position, you would think. I'd love a late caution.
It
I
would
love
make a
late
huge
caution here.
difference to this race, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Hamish should love me saying that.
No.
But he can rest assured that anything that I've ever wished for in my life has not come true. So, so yeah, me wishing for that is only going to solidify the fact that we're going to go green the entire way. But yeah, so he's almost put another full second out on second place right now as well. He's absolutely braining them at the minute.
So Luke Georgeson's just got past Wesley, so got himself back into the top 10. Norman Clark sitting ninth. The 09 car of Norman Clark in ninth position. That's a great run from him. He's just got a hold. He's got 7 seconds on Luke Georgeson, so that's a pretty good effort with only about 7 laps to go anyway. So I think he's going to pull off a top 10 finish.
Let's not forget he was in a wreck earlier on, wasn't he?
He was in a wreck.
You know, he got caught up with a couple of other cars when they got into each other and so on, and he's still out there and looks like he's going to pull away with the top 10. So that's a great job from him. Just having a look up and down the field to see what else we're really looking at here closely. Looks as though he's definitely taken the best out of those tyres, and he's about to come.
Oh, here we go.
From Matty Raymond. Matty Raymond's just going to go right down underneath him now. I don't think that's going to be too much of a fight. Actually, Stephen Williams, of course, running in 4th place at the moment. He's not in that battle.
Nope.
He's just around it. Oh,
Matty's taken the wall, though.
Stripe on the side of that car. And getting rid of that Mr. Sheen tag quite nicely there. Maybe he was just trying to give it a bit of a clean there along the wall, but he's taken that place away, so he's moving up closely, dropping down a little bit, unfortunately. And I guess it's just a case of damage control for him to try and make sure that he doesn't fall prey to Hunter before this one's over.
Yeah, that's it. Matty's doing a great job. He's getting around there, but I think at this stage he's about 2/10 of the lap quicker. He's 8 seconds back. We've got 5 to go. Oh, sorry, no, 1.8 seconds back. 5 to go. It's probably not going to make a difference there.
We got one in the fence. He looks like he's going to gather it up.
Ruben.
I think that was Luke Georgeson.
Okay, I've got Ruben Phelps going slow on the inside. He's coming into pit lane. I've seen him a few times now going slow on the track. I kept on flicking back to him. But he's into pit lane now. So that's Ruben deciding. I guess he needs tyres. It's just the end of it. They might have just gone on him. Matty might take P10 off Luke. He very well could. Sorry, that's Lockie in chat. We've got 5 to go. Matty's on the back of him here. I think Matty will get him here. He's going a good, almost a second lap quicker than Matt last lap. Also than Luke's last lap though. So shouldn't be much of a fight. The one I'm trying to keep an eye on with 5 to go, Luke Georgeson and Matty Knight. There's 3.5 seconds between these guys with 4 to go. Jaden could get back to 6th here. Which obviously strategy just did not go his way tonight. That's obvious, but that's a great fight back from him to get to that point of the race. As Matty gets really wobbly there on the exit again. I don't know if he'll make this happen. Luke's doing a great job staying low to hold that line, really making Matty work for it.
A lot of momentum doing it though. Look at that. It looks like
Matt should get a good run off the exit here.
Although Georgeson's done pretty well.
He's doing a great job tonight. Hats off to him. He's doing a great job. We need to get up the front here. 3 laps to go soon. Keep an eye out. Let me know, Ed. You're the expert here. Just very fascinated by this and that battle that's happening just a bit further up the field as well. Matty's going to get this done. We could go right down to the wire here with these two battling it out.
The only thing is that Georgeson's running a little bit low, and running on that flat's going to hurt him, as we mentioned a couple of times. Running on that very, very low, I understand him not wanting to risk making contact with Matty Ray, but at the same time, he's not, he's kind of disadvantaged himself a little bit there. But we've got Hamish just taking the white flag right now, so we're going to get no further cautions. They won't throw a yellow, even if somebody crashes now. So Hamish has just got the clear Knight there, and that's going to be his last issue. The
upside is we get to see Russell behind him and Knight battle as well towards the start-finish line. As they come around, Jaden goes low. And
Yeah.
he knows what he's got to do. He's only got a little bit of track to finish to
Yeah,
get
he's got the
this.
grip. He's got the grip, so he's got that done. Hamish Gallagher is going to cross the line and win it.
And Jaden gets
Jaden's
his
gonna
lap
have to
back.
do another lap now. He's got his lap back right on the line.
But Matty doesn't. Matty's finished.
Yeah, Matty's finished, although he's not driving like he's finished. I think he still wants to go on with this one. But looks as though Micklemore is going to cross the line into second place. Dyson comfortably in third there. Stephen Williams rounding the last corner right now. He's going to come home into fourth. And then we've got Kai Turner bringing home a well-deserved fifth place. Great run from him up to starting 10th. And Jaden Russell, the man we've been focusing on so much tonight with his up and down and all over the place. And he's going to cross the line there in the 6th position. And he's the last car on the lead lap.
Yep, and that's it. So, well done, Hamish Gallagher. That was, do I say that was a lesson in how to drive New Hampshire?
It was, yeah, certainly. It certainly was. He brained everyone. It's not too often that you see anybody. I mean, I raced against, in another league, I was racing against Andrew Dyson around here. And he absolutely destroyed me in that race. He was first, I was second. He beat me by, at the first part of the race, we were very, very close. And then he just took off in the second stint and killed me. And for Hamish to beat him by 14 seconds, he's flying. And Micklemore, as we expected as well, you know, right up there. He's really good at this track, as we mentioned. So he's going to be up there too. So, you know, they've both done a great job. Everybody out there really, after that bit of a messy start, did a great job. It's not the easiest track to race around other cars on, but they, you know, they did all right. You had some nice green flag running there.
Yeah, we asked for it in the end and we got it. It was one of those things where Hamish had the run of the race the whole way. It would be interesting to see if it was green the whole way, how close, how much further he lapped everyone bar 6 cars, bar 5 other cars on the track. Very, very great run, but yeah, lot to take away for a few of those other guys. Micklemore, as you suspected, great race. Dyson and Williams, another great race. Kai Turner, really good job there to end up 4th as well. But let me see if I can get some people up here to have a chat to. Or Ed, you're the expert. You want to talk to these people?
Well, Norman Clark's the only one who's there at the moment.
Let's bring Norman Clark up. Let's just bring him up.
Trade him in for a chat, hey?
And welcome to the broadcast, Norman Clark. Edward Foster here wants to have a few words to you.
Oh, yeah, okay, we'll go.
Yeah, well, nice work there, Norman. P6 start, P8 finish, bit of a wreck, came back from it. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I started pretty good. I mean, I had a reasonably good qualifying for a change. And then, well, we got going. First pit stop, I never took tyres, so I dropped back immediately. And at one point, I ended up sort of stone last. Like on this last run, I mean, I think I was absolutely last. And then I just drove up through the field, you know, up to 8th. So, you know, a bit of hard work behind Ruben. You know, some of the guys, they're really difficult to get past. But, you know, age and treachery, eventually that sort of overcomes youth and skill. Although not with you front guys, but you know what I mean.
Certainly do. So, look, we had that long green flag run at the end, but the start of the race was, as we expected, sort of full of some caution. So, how did you sort of see it playing out? Did you anticipate we were going to get that long run at the end, or were you more expecting it to go in sort of shorter stints the whole way through?
No, I actually, you know, I actually sort of thought that we would have a long run, right, almost from the beginning of the race. I mean, everybody that was in here, all good drivers and things like that. But I mean, you know, I thought it was going to really go green, and with maybe one caution and perhaps cautions towards the end if it ended up like being in a dogfight or something. So I was trying to keep some spare sets of tires ready just in case. But then once it sort of played out, then I knew that when I made that last pit stop, I made it specifically so that I could have fuel to the end. But then I also took tires so that, because if there wasn't another caution, I couldn't have stayed out on the older tires. So I took new tires, filled the car up, and then just knew I had to save the tires for the first little bit and then make work at trying to drive through the field. And I mean, the highest I could get is 8. I think it was only Jay Russ that got me from the back, you know, that he must have pitted somewhere and got fresh tires and made a comeback because he passed me easily.
Yeah, he did. He got fresh tyres sort of late on. and had to kind of claw his way back up there because he was sort of like you. He didn't take a lot of tyres early and then had them all to play with at the end. But I think he needed to pit for fuel reasons perhaps as well. So
Yeah,
that was behind that. But anyway, solid top 10 for you as well. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to while you're up here?
Well, I mean, obviously the team, although it was only me tonight and stuff like that, and then fully flawed and you guys up there in the booth, you know what I mean? You guys do a good job, and it's always nice watching the replays,
All right, well there you go, Norman Clark. He finished 8th tonight. Good, strong performance from him. Top half of the field, so great run from him. So it looks like we've got our top 3 down there. We got Andrew Dyson 3rd place tonight, coming into the booth, and Dyso 3rd place. Long green flag run at the end there. Bit of a different strategy with the tyres early on with those cautions. Talk us through that.
Oh man, it was yellow, 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 yellow. So I thought, if it's going to be like that the whole race, I'll save all the tyres as long as I can and start throwing them at the end of the race. But it ended up being the race went the complete opposite way to how I thought it would.
We were talking in the broadcast about the need for a crystal ball sometimes. You can throw out the absolute best strategy in history, but if the cautions don't play the way you think they're going to, you can wind up on the losing end of it. So is that essentially what happened there? You found yourself on all the tyres to everybody else towards the end, or?
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't by much, probably like 5 or 6 green laps or something like that, but it's enough to knock the edge off them. And once you get going and it settles down, then the guys who are on fresher tyres have just got the edge on you the whole way. For however long that last green flag run was, they had the edge on me. I just couldn't do nothing about it. But I think I did okay considering I was on a bit of an older tyre. So, but anyway, the yellow that I was praying for never came. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit in the broadcast about the absolute pasting you gave me around here in the Weekend Warriors race, and was kind of expecting, was very impressed to see those 2 guys out the front able to stay ahead of you. But we saw you have a little bit of a run with Kai Turner as well. There was a fair battle going on between the 2 of you for a little while, which even your teammate got involved in at one point as well. It looked like a good battle between you guys.
Yeah, probably a race highlight though, and I think he was on the newer tyre and I was on the older one, and he was having a red hot go. And I think as he kept having a go, I could see he was driving it in pretty hard, and the front right tyre wasn't going to like it. And eventually it started crying enough, and I was able to get away. But yeah, it was a good little battle. All
right, well, it certainly was a little bit of entertainment that we needed in that long green flag run. Anyway. Certainly, after everybody spread out, it became a little bit difficult to find the exciting spots. So that was at least one for us to keep an eye on. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just you guys putting on the broadcast and talking about people turning left and all the guys who helped us get it done in the team. Simrigs.com, BMX Mechanical, South Wilson Hoist and Phoenix Smokers, and Neil for getting all the paints together. And all the guys at ANZCAR put this on all the time. We appreciate it.
All right, so there you have it. 3rd place, Andrew Dyson for Simrigs.com DPR, one of the teams definitely becoming even more of a force as time goes on. And speaking of teams which have been a force over the years, we're talking to Josh Mickelmore, owner of Mitch Motorsports and 2nd place getter tonight. Got to be very happy with that, with your teammate up there in 1st place as well. But talk us through your race.
Yeah, no, buddy. Hamish was too bloody quick tonight. Yeah, we were sort of quick, but not his sort of quick tonight. I don't know, the car for me, to be honest, felt pretty stale. It was a little bit boring to drive. So, yeah, when we're trying to get through the field on those restarts as well, Hamish seemed to just breeze through it, and I had a heap of trouble tonight, so I lost a few seconds there. But yeah, it was good fun still, nonetheless. But it was just a little bit boring to drive. It was all.
We did sort of notice in the early laps of the race, especially when we were getting those regular cautions, that off the restarts, Hamish would sprint out to a sort of a 1 second lead or something like that quite quickly. And we were sort of thinking that you might be playing the long game or something like that. Is that something that you were sort of conscious of early on? Was that tyre wear, or is it just a case of the fact that he was just dropping the hammer?
The very first run, yes, I was definitely saving, and he was going pretty hammer and tongs. So, but that last run, I was going pretty hammer and tongs, just trying to get past everyone, but everyone was holding me up, so I wore a fair bit of my tyres out just in that short bit.
Yeah, we did see you sort of. We saw Hamish have the opportunity just with where he started, being able to dive down underneath Dyson and Co. quite early on. I think it was into turn 1 off the restart, and obviously you took a few extra laps to get that job done, and that kind of settled the race as far as that was concerned. But certainly this has been a track, one of those tracks that you've been very competitive on throughout the years, and certainly no surprise to see you up here having an interview afterwards, because it's, generally speaking, I think I'm right in saying it's a track that's pretty good to you.
It's actually one of my favourite tracks in the top 3 of my favourite tracks. If you remember last year's race, it was absolutely a spectacular race. This race last year between myself and Hamish, door banging, and I think who else was in there? Buddy Hobbo was in there as well. We were all door banging. It was a really good race last year. I think the Cup was too. But yeah, like you said, yeah, we are pretty competitive here, and it is a good track to me, so I do enjoy coming here.
Yeah, certainly. When you can get the green flag runs, they're all good. It's just managing to actually make those happen. But yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with you. It's a very enjoyable little track, this one. So just before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just well done for Hamish for kicking everyone's ass tonight. And our sponsors as well, Affinity Constructions Australia, Meadows Designs, ANZCAR, and you boys for putting on the broadcast as well at Locked On Lads.
All right, fantastic. Well, that's your second place getter, everyone. Josh Mickelmore, one of his favourite tracks, and no surprise to see him doing such an excellent job up here as well. Speaking of doing an excellent job, see, I'm really good with these segues tonight. It's coming together. I like it.
Perfect.
I like it.
Love it.
I like it. Speaking of doing a good job, we have the man who brained absolutely everybody, not for the first time this season, Hamish Gallagher, the flying Kiwi himself, in the silver bullet. Talk us through the race, mates.
Mate, you're a pro at this.
I am, mate. I'm a lot better here than I am driving, as it turns out. So maybe I should just stay.
No. It was okay race. Like last year's race here was really fun. The car was a bit tighter this year, so and then when all the strategies sort of played themselves out, it sort of knocked a few people out of contention. So it's just driving around by myself most of the night, which is, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a bit bland, but hey, you can't ever complain about getting a win. So yeah, I'm happy.
Well, it takes the edge off the boredom a little bit when you're running around in first place. I think it's a lot more pleasurable driving around on your own in first place than it is in 12th.
Exactly, eh? So you could easily have done the wrong strategy there, and then you spent the hot tyre race on old tyres, then that would not have been fun. Or it could have knocked the wall down as well, like someone did, on Monday night. I'm sure.
Oh, look, mate, look. I like to try and spice things up a little bit, and if it takes me knocking the wall down to do that, then I'm there to give.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, talking of strategy, how did you see the race playing out? Because we've had a few guys up here so far. They all had a little bit of a different idea about what they expected the race to do, how they expected everything to play out. What were you expecting going in, and did you get what you were expecting?
Sort of. Like, I predicted we'd get a fairly early caution, and then once we got the field spread out, we should go long green. So that's why I dived in when we had that second caution, really. That one about 15 laps in. I thought that would be it. And sort of got a bit worried. We had that one shortly afterwards. I thought, we're going to get screwed. But then, luckily, we got one more after that. So I knew I was going to go green at some point. Like, once everyone got spread out, this track usually you get long runs. So sort of did. But we got a bit scared there in the middle when we had a couple of extra ones, which I wasn't predicting.
And also, you had a couple of restarts in behind guys who decided to stay out and hadn't taken tyres. How sketchy was that, trying to weave your way through those guys?
Yeah, pretty sketchy, but I think people were not too, they weren't racing us too hard. They were giving a little bit of room. Like, I had to free wide a couple of times, but yeah, that was actually quite fun. I was able to trust everyone that they weren't going to do something stupid, so we could just race nice and tight, and yeah, that was actually probably the most fun part of the race.
Well, certainly. Well, anyway, he's taken out another victory here tonight in the Thunder Series, and following on from his victory in the Truck Series, we don't see him in the Cup, unfortunately. Something I continually try to campaign to get him back in there, but we don't see him at the moment. So just before we let you go, Hamish, shouts out, mate. Who do you want to speak to?
I want to shout out to Norm. He was ripping it up tonight. I was right behind him and Ruben. They were door banging and It was great to watch. So it was like Norm was, got the aggression out. I was loving it. So big shout out to Norm. His numbers looking really good in his car, I say as well.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a big thank you to for ANZCAR for putting the race on, Matty Hunter for running the series, for Affinity Constructions and Mad As Designs. Well done to Josh. P2, he had a little bit of damage there, so I think that sort of hurt him on that long run. Would have been fun if we'd had the same strategy and he didn't have to work so hard getting through the other cars. To see how he did, because he did better last year on this track, so I imagine he would have been pretty good if he didn't have that bit damage. And just you guys for helping out on the broadcast. I know how that's like. It's after doing last week. It's always hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's fun. It is fun to be able to sit up here and pass judgment on what you'd be doing better than everybody else. If only you were out there. No,
Exactly.
we have a good time up here, mate. So that's absolutely great. Your winner, everyone, tonight, Hamish Gallagher, dominant in the end. Looked as though there may be a bit of a race on earlier on, but he always looked to have the pace on the rest of the field. So, all right, that's it. That's another round in the books. Wilco, what'd you make of it?
Look, it was, what can I say? It wasn't boring, but it wasn't exciting. But it was definitely some great stuff in there. Like, it was definitely some good moments. Hamish just was the class of to everyone else. There definitely was some strategy issues with people, so they just made the wrong call. And how can you make the right call when we have like 4 or 5 cautions in the first 40, 50 laps, and then go green to the end? Like Hamish said, he was expecting something along those lines, which is fair enough. But there was even more cautions than he thought. But unfortunately, Jaden Russell got caught out. I think with the speed he had towards the end there, he was one of the quickest on the track for the night. I'm looking through the best laps of the night. He had a 31.029 versus Hamish's 31.084. So, one caution at the end there, like we said, would have spiced things up and made a really, really good finish. But I think the top 3 were the same 3 that we sort of see in amongst the top 4 or 5 or 6 each week, but they definitely earned it tonight. Thank you very much for helping me out tonight, Ed. I've got a quick question for you before we wrap this thing up. We're going to Pocono next week, the Triangle. What do you think is going to happen there? Any insights into this field taking on Pocono for 60 laps?
Look, I don't think that you're not going to see front runners down the back or anything like that. You got the form guide that we've seen so far is fairly well going to be carried on in that. I'd expect Dyson to be very strong around there. He's quite good around there. And I think that Jaden Russell, I think that track might actually suit him quite well as well. So we'll see what they're able to do. Hamish, of course, seems to be the man to beat at the moment. Ryan Jones is going to want to strike back after tonight as well. He's had a rough night. We do have drop rounds in this championship, so he'll be able to use one of those. So it's definitely not game over for him. But, certainly tonight's result would have left him in the position that he feels like he needs to come back and strike back next week. So expect a strong performance from him as well. So I guess it's kind of a boring thing to say, but the usual front runners are going to be up there, but that is going to be the case. There's a couple of guys. I wouldn't suggest that we're going to finish in exactly this order that we saw tonight.
No, so just quickly, I'll touch on this championship table. We were actually wrong. Ryan Jones isn't leading the championship moment because he did have that round he completely missed when he was up at Darwin the other week.
Right.
He's only 27 points off the lead, though. After Pocono, all drop rounds come into account, so we will have a very good idea of what's going on after next week's round. Hamish Gallagher's leading the championship. Josh Micklemore's second. Ryan Jones third. Tonight's results are not going to change much of that at all, except for Ryan probably may drop down to Ruben Phelps there just behind him. Brad Fenley doing a great job up there just ahead of Andrew Dyson and Matty Hunter. Justin Witcher, 8th. Noddy Tompkins doing a great job in 9th. And Norman Clark, we talked to before, rounding out the 10 currently. But like I said, next week will give us a really good indication with 3 to go of where the championship starts. So if you want to catch that, I just realised the overlay is completely wrong because it's not giving us anything. It's all giving you the generic stuff. There was some audio.
What do you mean? It's got track title and race sponsor there, mate. What more do you want?
That's it.
Looks perfect.
I noticed at the end the audio wasn't the best tonight. Sorry, everyone. I will try and be more on the ball with that. I know my volume was a little bit louder than Ed's, but sorry about that. But we'll get that right. But yeah, look, until next week, you've got the Australian Supercars E-Series they'll come to you on Sunday night from us. If I can get my day off tomorrow and actually get some practice around Fuji, you may see me doing the Vets V8s tomorrow night. However, we will be back next week, next Wednesday night for Pocono, ANZCAR Thunder, the race that will give us who the championship leader is going to the final 3 rounds. It'll be definitely one you don't want to miss. Thank you, Ed Foster, for another great night. And thank you, everyone who's been liking, subscribing, and all that kind of stuff on all the different YouTube channels. Keep on doing that. But until next week, you have a great night all, and we'll talk to you then. Bye.
Same track title, same race sponsor. See you then.
That's it.